How are we doing? Did we? Vesta, are you back? Can you hear me now? I don't know if that would have fixed anything, but I gave it a shot. Hello, hello. You here? Yay! Yay! Okay, good. I was like, I ain't got nothing else I can try. I hope this works. This is a weird night. This is a weird night for live time, apparently. Because I was just sitting there chilling, and I was like, I'm happy to just sit and chill, but I was like, if it's just me for 50 minutes, I'm going to call it. And then you got here, so thank you for coming. Uh, but yeah, it was like, I can ramble to the void for a long time. But I was like, maybe I don't need to ramble to the void for an hour if people don't come. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you can hear me now. Yeah, and I've just been hanging out. Where is it? I've just been like twirling my little selenite stick and petting cats because they've been switching in and out of which cat is in my lap, and drinking tea, and looking at astrology charts and all kinds of things. Mm, gotcha. Yeah, no, I was just like, I don't know if it could be my end because everything looks fine, but I was like, I'll give it a shot. So, whatever worked, I'm glad it worked. A part of me was also considering that we could just go to the Discord, but now that we're here, I think we're here, so we're good. Um, yeah. So anyway, yeah. What have I been? So, well, first of all, now that you can hear me, how are you, Vesta? Because I asked when you came in, but you couldn't hear me. So how you doing? um, I have been in and out and all about a little bit. Uh, Kind of literally because I was in Austin last week, which was great. Not a spiritual trip, just a good trip. Had a good time. Went to see friends. Um, but since being back, I've been, uh, I had the post trip blues, and I was like, I got to pull myself out of this and get moving, get going, get doing stuff. So, a little bit of that has been spiritual things. Um, Missed the full moon. Yeah, totally hear you. The number of full moons that I have missed in my life, it is many. It is very, very many. Um, so no worries. I did. So like I said, I've got. I really did. Austin was really, really good. I had such a fun time. Actually, I was like, I've never been to Texas before, and I was just like, just going to see my friend, and I was like, I know Austin's the place that everyone's like, keep Austin weird, and it's like Portland, but Texas and all that stuff. But it's just like, I don't. It's like I don't know how this is gonna go. And then I went, and I was like, it was great. I loved it. Um, so yeah, live in Houston. Yeah, okay, cool. I thought you lived somewhere around there, but I couldn't remember if I knew, to be honest. But I thought it was something like that. So yeah, we also we did a day trip to Dallas, which was a whole thing. It was my friend won a contest for a thing, but she could only do it like one of the days that I was there, and so we had to drive from Austin to Dallas and back in the same day with her cat in the car. That was an experience. The cat was very good. He was a very good boy. But yeah, so I had a great time in Austin. I spent an entire day not in Austin, but instead in the car. But it was fun. We were just like friends road trip. Yeah, it was. And we just went for the one thing. We didn't like hang out. We didn't go around. She was saying like, I thought about when we were getting things set up of like we could hang out in Dallas, but also like because she loves Austin and really wanted to show me Austin specifically. She's like, I want to show you my city, so we'll just like go to Dallas and do the one thing. It seemed like a beast. It seemed wild. We were still like I think technically on the outskirts, like we weren't in like downtown Dallas. Uh, but yeah, that was certainly an experience. So in the my little heart that loves to travel and go places, like obviously there are plenty of places worth going in the US that I've never been, including large swaths of Texas. And yeah, there's just, if I think Austin's my vibe. I think I'm pretty happy there. I don't know if I need to go to Dallas a second time, to be honest. But yeah, it was a really cool trip. Yeah, limited spiritual stuff, but just like having a grand old time. We love. I am a big proponent. I don't talk about it much on these lives, but I do. I kind of philosophically include it at the base level because this is who I am. But I'm just like, I'm such a big proponent of the like, yes, be spiritual and do spiritual stuff and everything, but like, please, for the love of whatever, it's like stay grounded, do your thing, like have your life. Don't get so like, don't become one of those people who's like, we're all living in the matrix, man, and that's really all that matters. It's just like no harsh and the mellow to those people, but like we all gotta be real people, and we all gotta be like present and like living our lives, and we can be spiritual people and doing spiritual things and like interacting with our spirituality like in a really pleasant and effective way without diving deep into it. So that was just a lovely sort of like normal life, no spiritual anything kind of trip. Because the last big trip that I went on before that was Japan, and that was a very like spiritual motivated trip. Aside from like, I've gone to Florida to see friends, but those are like that's the same trip that I take once or twice every year. And I just love like in that way of like rejuvenating your spirit and like do that kind of logic. I just love going to anywhere new and exploring. So yeah, going to Austin and just like fucking around and exploring and doing all that doing all that kind of stuff that way was just so much fun for me. I was so happy I got to go, so happy I got to see my friend, and I got to just, yeah, revitalize a little bit by exploring, because I'm not much of a relaxing to revitalize kind of a person. Like, I love to relax in theory, but whenever I try to relax for too long, I just get bored because ADHD. So, like, I can meditate and keep going and like relax in a meditative state for a long time. But if it's like just hang out, just chill, I'm like, cannot chill. Can chill with friends, can just hang out with friends and talk, or can meditate, or can watch TV, or can read book. But if it's ever just like, let's like go to the pool or go to the beach, we'll just chill, and everybody's just like, I'm like, how do you have fun doing that? I can't do that. So instead of chill out rejuvenation, I am very much like go do stuff, explore, have fun, new experiences, do new fun stuff person. So it was great. Easily travel hours. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about San Antonio. I thought that San Antonio would be cool to see. Houston would be cool to see. I was just like, specifically Dallas was the one where I was like, I think if I had to skip any city in Texas, I could probably just skip Dallas. Uh, but yeah, Galveston, yeah, yeah. I'll go back at some point, um, but I will probably be spending most of my time in Austin again. But I would like to see more of it and do more stuff there. Um, I think I was just like on principle. I was like, having never actually been to Texas, I was like, ah. But Austin is, yeah, it is like Portland and Atlanta and everything. Um, okay, cool. Hi, Lid. How you doing? Yeah, we are also just chatting. We are also just chatting with friends. I was like, I don't know if this live is gonna be like as much of a thing as I was originally planning. I will inevitably start talking about the stuff that that I mentioned in the Discord. I'll get there, but I was just like, this was a like keep the lights low kind of a night. This was a like, yeah. It was just me for the first 14 minutes. Just me and the cats me talking to the cats for the first 14 minutes of the live. So I am fully just hanging out. And at some point we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. Yeah, Dallas just didn't seem like anything that needed to be a thing to me, but that was fine. It was fun. It was fun to go on a road trip with my friend, regardless. Like it was truly a like it's the travel, not the destination kind of a deal. In the middle between Galveston and Houston. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like just speaking of like people will drive forever to go see stuff. Um, I made a joke with my friend because, you know, that friend is very like enmeshed and ingrained in her life there, and has so many friends and has a partner and has all this stuff. I was like, I'm so happy for you. Like, love that. You know, it would take. And the thing is, of course, them being like, so you want to move here, right? And like yeah, kind of. It seems great, but like I got stuff to do in Georgia. But but we were joking because I was like, you know, when people talk about like long distance relationships and everything else, and I forget how we even got on this topic, but just like she was kind of joking about that specifically, and I was like, look, man, I'm like, we'll find you a nice Texas girl. I was like, look, man, if as long as I'm in Georgia, I'm not going farther than like a 3-state radius for a long distance relationship. That's already enough. Like I did in college, I was like, you know, we went to college together, but I was dating a girl who was from Wisconsin, so it was like we were like long distance from Georgia to Wisconsin, and like it was just like I'm like I've done long distance. I'm not doing more than a 3-state radius, and but I have another friend who's in like Arizona, I think. Um, well, I know I have a friend in Arizona, but I was trying to remember this one specific friend. And she's like, and then you could date them, and then it would be a 3-state radius. I'm like, girl, it's Texas. Texas is a 3-state radius. So that's my joke that I was trying to get to for that whole ramble. But yeah, that's exactly. I thought Galveston was the one that was more spooky-ooky, vibey, haunted-y. So that's very much where I would like to go, because that's my St. Augustine, Savannah, Wilmington, New Orleans, etc. Like those kinds of cities are my vibe, and also all of those are like also like sort of by the water kind of haunted. So I'm sure Galveston's not by the water, is it? Where the fuck is Galveston? I have zero concept of Texas geography. I know there's a bigger Texas city that's on the water, but that's a problem. That's a problem for later. There was a website that I was working on. It's missing something, but that's not a during the live problem. Okay, yeah, it is kind of on water, isn't it? Yeah, I was like, I know I remember one of them is it Galveston? Okay, cool. So yes, this little ring light better not die. I keep accidentally like tapping this controller that's on it, and it keeps flickering a little bit. It's an island. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's once you've done long distance once or twice, you're kind of done. But yeah, so maybe Galveston would be my vibe. Who knows? I'll get there one day. I've had this thought though that like all of those like most haunted cities in the U.S. that we know about, mainly thinking of St. Augustine, New Orleans, and then like Savannah and Wilmington, etc., are all like they're not all exactly port cities. Like St. Augustine is not a port city, but they're all on the water. And St. Augustine, you know, wars and you know Spanish versus English and all that kind of, and lots of and fort and like duh, like why is St. Augustine so haunted? Well, fort. But so it just occurred to me a number of times that like a lot of these most haunted cities are port cities, which makes a ton of sense because that's in like more farther back time. People need to be at ports. Ports are also kind of dangerous. Any kind of people can be at ports, like shady people or not shady people or whatever. Like it's just like ports are just crazy places. So, you know, it's occurred to me a million times that like port cities, but also sort of secondary cities on the water, tend to be the ones that get their reputation for being haunted, and that just makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, Galveston Beach was what I was. That's what I was like thinking about when I was like, is it on the water? Is Galveston the one with is it Galveston Beach or is it something else? And I may just being dumb. So that was my entire thought process. Haunted because the 1900s storm, hurricane called storm. Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. It's funny. It's not funny. But like Atlanta is also honestly pretty haunted, but nobody talks about it because Atlanta's just like a city, right? Like New York's, like we all kind of know New York's haunted, but nobody talks about New York being haunted. Like New York is not a place. Excuse me. New York is not a place that you go because it's haunted. New York is a place that you go because it's New York, right? Uh, so like Atlanta's kind of similar. Like Atlanta's not the haunted city of Atlanta. um, it's like the city of Atlanta, and there's some haunted shit there. But like, yeah, Oakland Cemetery in Atlanta, if you ever come, sick vibes. Excellent cemetery. Huge, very. It's in that sort of. If you went to the cemetery in Richmond, it's kind of like was it Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond? If you've been there, um, Oakland Cemetery is like a little bit more City of the Dead vibes, but that similar feeling of like nice park meets cemetery graveyard vibes is great. Yeah, I forget why I was even saying that, but yeah, city burned down. All the whole thing with terminus trains, etc. All of that. Obviously, it's the South. Um, Enough said. Any major city in the South is going to have plenty of loss of life in unattractive ways. Go look and see if you're okay. But yeah, so I do have I have much love for the haunted cities and like the reasons why they're haunted, and you know, yeah, Civil War exactly. You know, it's whenever Europeans kind of make fun of Americans and America for being young. And I'm like, we had plenty of shit to worry about. Don't you even worry. We got tons of history. We got more than enough. We may not have European medieval castles that people were fighting over, but we had lots of other shit. Anyway, that's a little dark. Yeah. Yeah. I'm also happy to just keep talking about haunted cities for a bit, but I could transition into talking about what I was actually going to talk about for the live. Which is, I'm wondering if I should do the Primordials thing tonight or if I should dedicate like a whole live to that. But I did definitely want to talk a little bit more about the cool reading that I got. Because that was it was a lot of fun, and it was like I think the word I used in the Discord is unique because it is unique. Like I've never had a reading like it before, and I alluded to it a lot in the live 2 weeks ago. Which way's quieter? There we go. I alluded to it a lot in the live a few weeks ago because it had a lot to do with like all of the Hindu stuff and being like a little bit more formally introduced to Shiva and all of those kinds of things. But so what the actual reading was, the place that did it is just called the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute or whatever. Like it's literally, there's a city in India, I think it's only the one city, where they have all of these stored palm leaves that are 2,000 to 3,000 years old. Yeah, so it's like a company that does this, but what the company's doing is just making it easier for Westerners to access, because they are literally physical palm leaves like this big, that were written on thousands of years ago, I think it's just 12 Maharishis is the story, and they would. I don't know if they all did it under like the same conditions of like during the full moon, all the Maharishis would do that. Like I don't think it's quite like that, but it's something. I know that mine was written close to the full moon, because it's literally in like ancient Tamil, and it's literally a palm leaf cut in a rectangle and written on in this ink, and there are books of palm leaves. I'm trying to. It's like I have so many. I have so much paper around. I was just trying to see if I had like a stack of paper to show you. Like you've seen a stack of paper before. I don't know why I want to show you a stack of paper, but honestly, my little camphor bone is probably a good size analog for like thickness and for length and size. So it's like, so just pretend that this is a palm leaf with a bunch of ink on it. But they have like books full of these palm leaves, and so it's just like, you know, the palm leaves are basically hole punched, and they have like a hardwood front cover, and then a bunch of individual palm leaves with their like little hole punched through, with the cord that's like, you know, the cord is wrapped around it to keep it closed, but when you unwrap it, then the cord is what the palm leaves can like slide down if you need to move them to the next one. So, you know, it's not like bound by glue, it's bound by cord. And you can move them and everything. So there are like, I think it's, you know, anywhere from like 40 to 60 or something palm leaves per book. And there are literal libraries of these palm leaf books in the city in India. I really should have remembered to look up which specific city it is. But this is a thing that's been happening for like, the readings have been happening for ages and ages and ages kind of thing. But the palm leaves were written 2,000 to 3,000 years ago by these old Hindu Maharishis. And so the thing is, there are a limited number of the palm leaves. You have like, there's no guarantee that you definitely have one, but kind of the way that they talk about it is like, if you're serious about seeking it out, there's probably in the kind of like, yeah, we'll come back to, because I think that did happen a few times. Like you'll have, like, there's no guarantee you will have your own specific leaf in there, because a lot of them did. Some of these libraries of palm leaf books burned down. This specific town, I think the story goes that one of the Maharishis, the one who wrote My Leaf, Maharishi Korakar, apparently, like, the story is that he foresaw that there was going to be this big flood and like tsunami, and made sure that city basically put in the infrastructure to not get completely torn away by this tsunami. or was it a storm? I don't remember, but you get the idea. So it was just like everything around this city got like blasted away basically and had to completely rebuild, and this city like stayed intact enough to keep being livable and viable, and to keep like the records of the palm leaves safe and everything. So it's this like beautiful, very sort of very ancient feeling story of these thousands of years, these like sages, Maharishis, thousands of years ago. All of these, how many of them were, these palm leaves were written, how many of them have been lost, how many are left. It's this really exciting story of like how many there still are. I don't know how many specifically there still are, but there are hundreds and hundreds of books per. It's like hundreds of books of palm leaves per palm leaf library. You have to like, and the way that they identify which book might hold your palm leaf is you give them your thumbprint, just one thumbprint. It's like if you're, and it is very gender, which kind of annoyed me on my social modern person level, but from this was a guy thousands of years ago level, and this is a tradition that has worked this way the whole time, I'm just kind of like, I don't care, I'll let it go. So it's like, if you're basically AMAB, if you're assigned male at birth, you give them your thumbprint of one side, and if you're female at birth, you give them the other thumb. And so they analyze your thumbprint to tell you what type of thumbprint you have. Because there are 108 main categories of thumbprint that you could have that might, and then those each have like, there's like a type of book. Yeah, not only men, just the entire thing has gendered associations to different pieces. So women can do it, but it's very defined of like there is no concept of non-binary kind of thing. Yeah, so not like in the context of the reading at least. I think India itself does have that, and Hinduism has that to some extent, but it's just not represented in this reading style. But yeah, so they'll look at the elements of your thumbprint, and you have to give them like 10 impressions of the same thumb so that they can really see the composition of your thumbprint to go and identify what type of thumbprint it is out of these like 108 types of thumbprint. And then I think there are subtypes under that. And that's what they go around to all of the palm leaf libraries looking for the books for that type of thumbprint. And then and this whole process took years, by the way. I first heard about this like 3 years ago, and then I put down, it's expensive, by the way. It's like not cheap. I put down the $100 deposit like 2 years ago, and then I never sent in my thumbprints. So I just sent in my thumbprints like 7 or 8 months ago. So they had the deposit, and they'll refund the deposit if you ask them to. But like, the point is that it takes enough labor just to find the book. Yeah. So the reason it took literal years is my fault. It was an intuition timing thing. So I gave them the deposit 2 years ago. I gave them the thumbprints about 8 months ago. So once they had the thumbprints, then they could start actually looking for the book that my leaf might be in. And then that took about 6 months for them to find that. I think they brought 2 books, but it was like, so 2 books of palm leaves is like roughly like 80 to 120 palm leaves. That one of those could be mine, and they're using all of these characteristics of. Yes, they did find, and they got back to me. And so once they've found the books that your leaf might be in, that's the point where you need to be there, because they need to sit with you. And this is part of like, if you were doing this in person, first of all, the thing is like, there's plenty of people who can scam you, is the idea. So like, this place is about as vetted as you're gonna get for not being a scam. Because if you don't read ancient Tamil, you can't read the leaf. And guess what? I don't read ancient Tamil. So there are people who have done this process for years, who are scammers, who live in that same city and have access to these same libraries of the palm leaves. So this Palm Leaf Reading Institute is the closest thing to vetted, and they handle all of the, like, there's a moderator in the chat with you to help you understand what's going on and give you context. There's a translator there because, again, shocker, the guy who can read, and I assume there are women too. Mine was a guy. Actually, I think it is mostly guys because of the way the tradition's taught. Again, it's just gender. It's very gender. But like, all of the people who can read the ancient Tamil are not fluent English speakers, because they know like the modern language in the country they live and the ancient language in the country they live, and they have not learned English. So there's a moderator, there's a translator, and there is the guru, basically, who is reading the ancient Tamil. And they're also, so the other thing is, you have a prophecy that's written on the leaf itself, but they're also doing a Vedic astrology, like Jyotish reading thing. Jyotish is Vedic astrology. That's just like, which term do you use? It's a whole thing. And so, yeah, so they're reading off your prophecy your thousands of years old prophecy once they find it. So I'm jumping ahead. You have to sit with them and go through the leaves in the book of palm leaves, and they have to check these details with you to see whether or not this leaf is your palm leaf. So it's such an intensive process, which is why it's expensive. Like, you have to schedule for 4 people to get on the call at the same time. My moderator was in Germany. The translator and the guru were both in India, and I was obviously here. Like, and they're also, like, it's a whole thing. So the total cost, I won't make this like a TikTok where it's stick around to the end, or like a 20-30 minute YouTube video, stick around to the end to see how much it costs. I got a discount because I had a referral code from the podcast that I originally heard about it from. The whole thing, including my $100 deposit, the whole thing cost me $400. It was expensive. So that's also why it took me a long time to send in the leaf, because I was like, I need to have money set aside for this if I'm going to do this. If I'm going to do this, I have to do this. So, it's expensive, I told you. But I really wanted to do it, and I was really excited about it, so I did it. And money was money. So we're sitting on the live. We're sitting on the Zoom with all 4 of us, and they're going through, like, kind of, the discount was $100, so the full price would have been $500, including the deposit. Good discount. Sorry. Legs stiff. Hold on. Okay. Hello, cat. Yeah, so the whole thing, including the deposit, would have been $500 without a discount. It's expensive. It's like a thing that you're really... But there's a literal person in India running around trying to find your book, right? Like, in going to these libraries and, like, manually sorting through these books of the palm leaves. Like, let me actually... You know, it's, like... Not that I even need to say this. Not sponsored, obviously. Like, you know... like, duh. But... It's just so cool. I just want to show you, yeah, so, like, that's one of the guys who can read them. Those are the palm leaves. That's the book, right? So that cord that's in his hand, that's what the palm leaves, like, slide down. And it's also what, like, holds the book together when it's not closed. So, and, like, obviously, so all of the leaves are, like, were fully dried before anybody wrote on them, et cetera, to address, like, the mold thing. Like, it's still, like, random. It's kind of random buildings in India. Like, this is not, me the fuck too. Man, I wish I was sponsored. Anyway, sidebar. But yeah, so it's just so cool. It's such a cool, and, like, that wasn't the guy who read me my leaf, but you know, they all work in the same office. Like, they have an office in India to, like, pay for an upkeep and pay everybody there. They have an office in America to do all the admin, and that's part of how they. And that's, like, there's also, like, for tax reasons, but also for, like, the for like the how to. Like, getting the deposit and getting the deposit back and all of these things. Like, the U.S. has more regulations about that than they do in India. There's stuff like that. So it's this whole freaking organization making it work. So it's like, it makes sense that, and there are people who have to manually go and get it, and then you have to set up the reading, and, you know, they pay, obviously they pay the moderator, and they pay the translator, and they pay the guru, and they da-da-da-da-da. So it's expensive, but it's very, very cool. So when you're saying, like, how detailed are the details? So they're going through, and kind of at the same time in my reading and how it went. Because again, this was one of the weird things, because not only does it have to go from Tamil to English. It has to go from ancient Tamil to English, right? So they're trying to get some, like, they don't know your name. Like, the guru doesn't know your name before you start. Like, they change it on the Zoom thing and everything. They don't have access to your information. And they don't know your birthday, and they don't know your... So some of the things that are on the leaf that are helping them identify whether or not it's your leaf include stuff like your birthday and your birth month, but also, like, you know, did you receive a higher education, whatever that looks like, and do they... yes, that's exactly what happens. If they don't find it, they just refund your deposit, because the deposit is for the seeking part, but if they don't find it, you get your deposit back. But yeah, so they're going through these details of, like, are your parents still alive? Are they healthy? Which my parents are not healthy, but by the definition that they gave, they are healthy enough. You know, like, there's like, do they need, like, help doing daily tasks? No. Okay, so they're healthy enough, kind of thing. Like, it's that kind of level of detail where it's like there's some technicalities, there's some stuff like that. Yeah, and, like, do you have any blood siblings? So, like, I have a half sister, but they mean, like, full blood siblings, both parents. So the answer to that for me is no. And, like, I guess sometimes they will ask about that if you have half siblings, but they didn't ask me. It's fine. My sister did not get, like, raised with me. My sister's 14 years older than I am, and she lives in California, and she, like, hasn't come visited in a while. Like, so, yeah. Yeah. So, and the thing about, too, with the date of birth and everything, is the Tamil calendar has basically 2 months for every, like, what Latin calendar, whatever the fuck calendar we use, 2 months for every one of our month and 2 years for every one of our years, basically. So they're trying to be like, you know, were you born between the months of, like, excuse me, I think mine was like, were you born between the months of, like, September and December? I was like, yeah. And so they're figuring out what month you were born, those, like, sort of details about your parents. At some point because they'll ask, like, what letters are in your parents' names, and I don't think they're using that to compare directly to the palm leaf, but there's something about, like after they'd asked a couple of those questions, they're like, so your father's name sounds like this and your mother's name sounds like this, and it's like, yeah. So it's like, again, like, they can't just say, like, for Matthew, they can't just be like, okay, so the ancient Tamil M-A-T-T-H, like, it just doesn't translate that way. So they're trying to get the sounds that sound like your parents' names and your name and all that stuff. So they're trying to match up as many of those details as they can, as well as what you've done in your studies. Like, they asked me about, like, property, like, do you have income from property? Stuff like so there's a lot of details that they're looking for to make sure, and if anything doesn't line up, nope, next leaf, and they just turn to the next one, because there's, you know, almost 100 leaves on the table, palm leaves on the table, you know. And I think that's also part of why they take forever to get, because basically, like, I think you literally do basically check out these books. So, like, if somebody else has the book that has your leaf in it, when they go looking for it, they can't get your leaf until they go back next month, kind of thing is the idea, I guess. So it's this whole process. And so the like, leaf matching is the first part. Can be roughly an hour, is kind of the expectation is going to be about an hour. Mine, we did, you know, like 10-15 minutes of admin before we started the actual matching. And then my matching portion only took like 20 minutes, which was good. And the moderator was like, that was really fast. Hot dog. I was like, cool. Yay. So it's, yeah, so it's just, there's all these details, and it's really fascinating. They will ask, because it'll also be, do you have any kids? Are you married? And they will ask, like, if you did you have kids and did you have a child and if then they passed away? Did you have a sibling and they passed away? They will ask all of that. Yes, so that's all part of the identifying details. So it's possible they may do multiple online leave inspections and not all the details mentioned. Yeah, so that's part of why, like I said, I think they brought 2 full books of leaves to my matching because they're like, these are 2. Hey, Lactose. We are deep in me retelling the story of this reading that I had. I will try to super hyper. I guess you Vesta. Super hyper speed up. So, it's this whole tradition that's based in India of literal palm leaves, like dried palm leaves written on 2,000 years ago, 2 to 3,000 years ago. And they still have a bunch of these books of palm leaves that are in India, and they have to find them, and that they use your thumbprint to find it. Once they find a book that matches your thumbprint, then they have this meeting with you to try and match the thumbprint, or to try to match one of the leaves in the book or books that they brought to you and the details of your life of like, are your parents still alive? Do you have siblings? Do you have children? Are you married? What field of study did you do in education? Et cetera, et cetera. So they'll do all of these like really detailed bits and bobs to try and make sure that one of these leaves out of however many leaves are in the books, of like 40 to 60 per book, basically, actually match you. So it's a huge deal. It's a huge process. It's not cheap. It took 6 months to find books that matched my thumbprint. But once we found that and started doing the matching thing, doing the matching took like 20 minutes, which was cool. And then from there, you take a quick break. And so now we're caught up. Now I'll slow down a little bit. That's the super hyper fast version. They will, once they've confirmed it's your leaf and they are using like you don't give the guru your birthday, but he will ask information to identify like, does your birthday match the time on the leaf? And so you'll take like a sort of 10-15 minute break, and once they have your birthday, part of the process is they give you an astrological reading as well with some sort of timing technique within the Vedic. It is actually insane. It's really, really freaking cool. If you want to look into it more, the company is called the Palm Leaf Reading Institute. So the company's based in the U.S. They handle like all of the translation, all of the moderation, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's expensive, but it's cool. And so this is where this stuff of like, I now have like monthly prayers to Shiva and weekly prayers to Lakshmi, and I've been like learning more about Ganesha / Ganapati, like all of this, like that's where all of that is coming from. If I did this reading, and within it, including all of the details of what's actually written on the palm leaf, is basically the prophecy for your life. And then they also give you pujas, or like sort of basically prayers, practices to do and meet these requirements to improve your karma. Of like they gave me a basic sort of plot layout structure of my most recent life. I'm gonna say within that system, because I know what my most recent 2 lives were. So like my most recent life in India, I believe is the one they were talking about. But like, and so once they find your leaf, they're like, how many leaves have you had, or how many lives have you had, how many lives do you have left is on there. So like, I kind of knew this. I'm on my last life. I've been pretty sure that I was, at least in this like manifestation of soul stuff, that I am. I'm so much stuff. My soul, this is not to be a pick-me. My soul is so complicated and convoluted. It's ridiculous. There's so many little bits and bobs and threads and needles and stuff. So I kind of known already that like this is probably my last life in this like, my last like incarnation in this soul structure thing that is me. So they will, yeah, two readings, and that's also part of why it's expensive too, because they're doing two readings, and it's a whole thing. So they're doing the palm leaf reading itself and the astrological reading with the timing of your life span and everything. So it's very cool. But so yeah, they've said, and everything is in, in context of Hinduism, right? And they're all, this is written by like one Maharishi who is ultimately part of like a lineage and a sect of Hinduism. Like Hinduism is not one thing, right? Like this whole, you get it. So it's really complicated, but basically it's like it's on the leaf that I will achieve moksha in this life within the context of Hinduism, moksha being the release from the cycle of reincarnation, right? And like enlightenment and release. So according to that, and again, I intuitively kind of knew this already, this is my last life. Cool. Let's go with a bang, fellas. No, but so yeah, that's like the general prophecy of what roughly what your life is gonna be like is on there. They also tell you about what the elements of your thumbprint that like led them to find the right book. They tell you what those elements of the thumbprint mean. They tell you what's on the leaf and what's in the actual written prophecy. They tell you the astrological reading of basically, again, so I was talking about this earlier. The Tamil calendar has 2 years for every one of our years, or two of our years for every one of their years. Sorry, I've been saying it backwards. So they give it to you in like 2 to 4 year chunks of your time of your life, roughly. Of like, this is going to be a good period, this is going to be a neutral period, this might be a rough period. But like, even during that rough period, it'll be a good time for business, or like even during this neutral time, it'll be a good time for family, that kind of thing. Excuse me. So it's a whole ass thing, but it's very cool. And so in addition to the astrology and what's on the leaf and everything, they give you these pujas, which are the things that actually are your like prayers and things to remediate some of the negative karma that you might have had from your previous lives. So the story that they gave me about my past life within that context and within like basically my last life in India was and like connected to this lineage. I think like this is the thing about lives and soul structure, and it gets fucking crazy and weird. Because you have pieces. Everybody's made of pieces. That's a tangent. But so, the last life I had that was in any way involved with like this lineage and this path and etc. Apparently, I had some kind of connection to that specific Maharishi who wrote the leaf. Not like at the time that he wrote the leaf, but like his, like I was a gifted. The story goes, I was a gifted child, spiritually gifted. My family recognized it and wanted me to make use of my spiritual gifts for the community and for the family. They sent me to an ashram. At the ashram, I was basically busy having fun and living my own damn life. So I, basically flunked out of ashram school to be silly about it. I left. And didn't tell anybody I was leaving, didn't do it, like I just eventually left, found friends and just like hung out with friends and indulged in life and blah blah blah. So like I was known to be spiritually gifted, and I just on purpose neglected it is the thing. Eventually, later in life, realizing that was a mistake, obviously, and that like the friends I've been surrounding myself with were not good people, and like didn't have my best interest at heart, and I had a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff to make up for, basically. And so I tried to go back to the ashram that I took myself out of, and they were like, "We're absolutely not taking you back." And so the story is like, I tried to go to a couple of different places, and nobody would take me. And then so I guess the ashram that is related to And I was born on almost a full moon. I was born like 3 days before a full moon, and I went to an ashram associated with the Maharishi that wrote The Leaf, Maharishi Korkar, um, on a full moon, and whoever the guru was there was the only one who like sort of listened to me enough to take me in and that like basically take me inside and say, look, you got a bunch of shit you got to make up for, so start making up for it. Here's what you do. And then I did that, and basically that was, and this, it's also the like at the point that I like re-entered society and like came back home and everything, parents were gone, etc., etc., etc. So like that's the story. But I eventually did come into my own as this spiritual person, made all sort of this basically penance stuff happen, and it was good enough to get me through the rest of life, and then I died, and now I'm here to try again as a person who still has spiritual gifts and is trying to make better use of them this time. Teehee. So that's the story. And so they were like, sort of recommendations being like, if I can ever go to India and and they gave me the like temple to go to. They're like, go to this one. And they told me like the location, like they're like, you were born in this city in this mountain range, like yada 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 yada. So it's just very cool, very very cool. So they're like, if you can ever go to this specific temple in this specific city on a full moon in India, do it. Excuse me. Please don't start hiccups. This would be a bad time. Excuse me. Are we good? Are we not hiccuping? Okay, we're gonna keep talking and see what happens. So yeah, that's like, again, this is a huge reading. They're telling me the prophecy for this life. They're telling me about my most recent life and how like my karma from that life affects this life. Because as I assume we all know, if we don't, it's fine. But the thing of like, karma is not about what happens today happens back. What someone does today happens to them tomorrow. That's not what karma is. Karma is like the across lifetimes accumulation of energy and like, the good and bad deeds that you have done all add up to what is your karma. That's how karma works. So basically I like went into that life pretty solid and then tanked it and then was just trying to pull myself back up and do okay, and got a little bit of that done and then died. So this is the life where I'm dealing with a lot of that stuff, which again, these pujas, these rituals and prayers and things are essentially cosmic reparations for bad karma to improve this life and get me further towards enlightenment, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of roughly how it goes. It's not a great way to describe it, but that's roughly what's happening. I do want to do it. I don't know if I'm ever gonna, I don't know when I'm gonna ever get to India. But I would love to. India has been on my bucket list for a long time, but it's not like high on my bucket list. India is probably in the like between 5 and 8 kind of tier slot. I want to go to like Thailand, and I want to go to Korea, and I want to go to like Germany and Spain, and like, so India's in there, but it's not high on there. And so they did say in the thing like travel is going to be important to you, and they also told me in the like astrology reading portion, they're like, this particular portion of 6 years is going to be harder for travel, so avoid any solo travel during that time, and if you do travel, make sure you have people with you or who you can call, etc., etc. So people with bad karma have fucked up past lives of their roughly, more or less. So yeah. Peru is also on the list. Peru is higher on the list. Yeah, I guess Peru is probably in like the number 4 or 5 slot. I would love to go to Peru. Anyway. I also want to like actually explore Mexico, and I want to go to Colombia. I don't know why I want to go to Colombia, but I want to go to Colombia and Argentina. Anyway, I have a friend who's Colombian, and I kind of want to go with him. But that's a whole other thing. Yeah, so I'm just like, I travel is important to me. I love travel, but I don't always know like what I'm gonna do. So at some point, I do want to go to India and go there and do that. But so getting myself to India on a full moon and like I'm probably gonna need somebody who can translate, and that's gonna be a whole thing. And so anyway, I would love to do it. I'm gonna try at some point, but I'm in no rush. They also so literally part of the thing of the astrology part is that you essentially find out roughly when you're supposed to die, um, and they say it in the thing. There, I've been pretty sure. To be honest, I've been confident that I will live until I'm roughly 80, and I might make it like just a little bit past 80, and then I'll go kaput, and then I'll take a nap. And yeah. That's the thing. I can speak Spanish well enough to like get myself around like Mexico, because I'm also familiar enough with Mexico. But I would need guides for like most South American countries, because I just don't know the country itself that well. Anyway, no. I would certainly need a guide for India. But yeah, so it's just a whole thing. So, and yeah, so the karma thing of it is like your karma is like this is such a terrible way of putting it. It's like the universe keeping score. Your score is your karma. That's right. I have heard that a lot of people speak English in Argentina. I have a friend who I've talked about it, and they're trying to convince me to not go to Argentina, and that's a whole other thing. But I want to go anyway. Maybe one day, this whole account and everything will pop the fuck off, and I will be able to do what Crystalline and Emily do, and do the Trova trip thing, and we can all go to Argentina, and Colombia, and India, and but yeah. So I digress. But yeah, so it's just such a cool. Yeah, the karma thing is complicated, and it does like span lives, and it does like go across this whole thing, and like it is like cosmic energy stuff. So it's not literally keeping score. It's just like kind of roughly where your energy sits after all the good and bad shit that happened in your life. So it's a really interesting but really complicated everything. So, but it was just the reading itself was lovely. I heard, so that's right. I was talking about the lifespan thing. You can tell I'm getting tired because I'm having an even harder time. I'm having an even harder time staying on track than usual. Normally the ADHD is bad, but when I get tired, then it's worse. But I want to finish. So, I want to finish telling this story. My I don't know enough of how the system works in specific to know all of the exact karma question details. This is I wanted to put this disclaimer up top. I want to be very, very clear. I am learning all of this. I've had you guys know I have done a lot of research into chakras and how they are supposed to work, and how like the 7 chakra system thing is not like the chakra system. It's just like the one that popped off, and it's like based on a mistranslation of a misunderstanding kind of like it's a way oversimplified. It's like I have a lot. I have as much knowledge as I can have about that without being a Sanskrit scholar. And so stuff like my understanding of karma, I've known basically what I've said to you, I've known forever, but I don't understand it nearly as well as like the guru who is talking to me and reading my leaf to me and all this stuff. Like I understand it, but I don't understand how it works the same way, because my understanding of how all this stuff works is so ingrained in the Western way of thinking. And I try to broaden that, and I try to channel in as much stuff as I can. Like, y'all know I'm tight with Azrael. He is death. I have a lot of understanding of how death works and how bits of the soul move in death and stuff like that, but I don't know how karma as a concept translates to the version of everything that I do understand. So I'm gonna try to not speak as though I'm authoritative on it. So if I can answer a question, I'll answer a question, but I truly just don't know exactly what happens to it, with it, for it, how it happens. It's just one of those things. I just haven't learned enough of that stuff yet. But yeah. Azrael. Anyway, it's the stupidest thing I could have done. Anyway, so I'm losing it. So I'm gonna start winding down a little bit here. I could give more details of the reading and how it went because it was really, really fun. I do have more details. They also send you like a recording of your entire reading. They send you like the text because the moderator and the translator are both using the text chat, so they send you a record of the text chat. So like I was there, I was taking notes, etc. But now I'm like in the process of going back through and rewatching my entire reading and taking a little bit more detailed notes and like timestamps so that I can go back to things and rewatch them. So it's a whole. It was a lovely experience. I had a great time. There's like one or two things that I have that I'm still a little bit iffy about and I ask questions about, and there was one thing that I felt iffy about, and I asked a question to the guru, and I was not super satisfied with my answer. But it's about a personal thing. It's about a family thing. So like, this is not like you do this and every question you have ever had in your entire life is answered and they have all the answers for you. But it is like, it's a really great shape and trajectory of how things move and how things go. And like, yeah, it's, so what did it say? Like, what did my leaf itself say? I've been thinking about how I want to say it, if I want to say it. Like, I don't mind telling you guys. I've just been thinking about how I want to say it. But yeah, so like, but just before I get there, I do think it's really interesting because them giving the pujas and everything, like I said, I have a mantra that I say 108 times. I have a mala now. This has 108 beads plus a guru bead. I don't have a guru. This is not a real guru bead. But so I have to. It is recommended that if I want to follow this system and improve my karma to do these pujas, to say I have this mantra to say to Lakshmi 108 times every Friday. I have this mantra to say 108 times to Shiva every full moon. And that's to Lakshmi for like 18 Fridays, I think it is. Like, they give me a limit. The Shiva one is basically any and all full moons that I can for the rest of my life. I have a mantra that I can say to Ganapati/Ganesha anytime. And then I have a mantra to say to Parvati, who is Shiva's wife, 108 times. I forget exactly. It's like 7 days after the full moon or something like that. But yeah, so it's very, they literally give you homework, but they explain how to do it. They also are like, and if you want us to do this at like a temple in India, and then, you can pay us a little more and we'll organize it all and have it all done. We'll send you videos of it and blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I would kind of like to, because I would kind of like to have that be part of this story for me. But I don't know how much it costs to do that yet. And this whole thing was already pretty expensive. But that's part of it too. So they have like additional rituals and pujas that someone else can do on your behalf that are a little bit more complicated. And then you have the home pujas and everything. So it's very cool. So I have this now for specifically that. It looks kind of yellow in the light, but it's camphor. I got you don't have to buy a mala, but the idea is that you say the mantras 108 times for a Hindu reason. I've tried looking it up. I've tried looking into exactly what the reason is a couple of times, and I've gotten a couple of different answers. Short answer is just that's what you do. So this has 108 beads on it, so that I say the mantras the right number of times, and I can actually do the counting the way you do with a rosary or whatever. And yeah, lots of spiritual homework, but it's all very interesting and very fun and like rewarding. Like I've been having a good time doing this and learning this, and it's also I liked, whenever you do your mantras and prayers and whatever, they're like you can give food or water or whatever as an offering, and then afterwards they like explicitly say like, and you can eat the food and then you can drink the water, because once it has been offered and while you have been praying, it has now been blessed by the deity that you've been praying to. So it's like, I know that can be like a weird kind of pressure for some people on like how stressful is it to have like offerings sitting out, and how long do you have them sit out for, and then how do you dispose of them and all this stuff. It's like I was specifically told you can then consume the things that you offer because they are now blessed. So they have been offered and then they were blessed and now you can eat them. So it's a cool, and it's like the rules are laid out well. Like it makes sense. So it's very cool. Yeah, I haven't even asked how expensive it is. I just know it's expensive. The moderator basically told me, she's like, it's not cheap to have them do it. She also said if you can have it organized, you can totally do that, and that's also fine. Like these are relatively standardized rituals that like any like Hindu priest, guru, whatever should be able to do for you. So there is a Hindu temple of Atlanta that I've been to before that I love. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Anyway, so like I could technically arrange with them to have these done. I don't know how much that would cost, but it would almost certainly be less than having these guys do it. So anyway, it's just a thing. But yeah, it's like because of the like mismatch between our calendar and the Tamil calendar, they're like use your birth date corresponding to the Tamil calendar as like your universal address for them to do the prayers and things for you. It's all very cool and interesting and weird and fun. Hi, Lid. I am starting to wrap up because I can actually feel my voice going a little bit, and I just been yapping. I've been yapping. But I'm glad you're here. Yeah. But yeah, and so short version of basically what was said in my reading is that like, I'll come back to that. So the short version of what was said was that I have basically very good energy for writing a book. I will probably write a book at some point, and it will be like, it's kind of like at the point that I write that book, it will become the book on the topic that I write it on, which I would love. I would love to write a book like that. Y'all know me. I am a nerd. And I like having I like having sources. I like having things to reference, and I also like sharing my experiences. So they're basically, you will probably at whatever point that you do this, basically they said you will be successful in spirituality and in business, and those two things will coincide. So that's nice to hear. They specifically said that my two businesses, being my design business and this one, will both be successful, and then in like my 40s-ish, I will open a third business, which is also related to but tangential to the spirituality stuff. And what else? There was something else. Yeah, that's the gist. So good energy for like being a strong spiritual person, being like a leader and somebody who helps people in spirituality is a consistent thing throughout my life. Like it was specifically said at some point that like at whatever point that door is opened, it cannot be closed, kind of thing. Like you can't go back on it. Like once you are teaching people and helping people, that's what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, Yeah. I'm a nerd. You're a nerd. We're all nerds. It's cool. um, but yeah, so it's just, it was a really positive reading. It was really lovely. And obviously there were more details, but that's sort of the short version. I had so much fun. Like, I don't know if I would pay that much money just to do it again for fun. And this is the crazy thing. Apparently, you can have more than one leaf. The moderator said that she just did one like the week before mine for a woman who got her third reading, her third palm leaf reading. It's crazy. Like, and like not crazy, but like crazy, like whoa. Like, so it's a fascinating system. It's a fascinating tradition. Like, all the people were lovely. I actually really liked my moderator. Like, low-key, like I said, she's in Germany, but like, I was low-key like, if I ever go to Germany, can I like hang out with you? Like, she was awesome. Yeah, it was just so much fun. It was very like enriching. Like, I felt like I got a lot out of it. I feel very hopeful for a lot of things. They're real with you about like some bad periods of your life. They're like, you know, in this period of your life, it's just gonna be hard. It won't be like take you back down to the bottom hard, but like in my life, like right now, the period that I'm in is rough. And guess what, guys? I knew that. I knew. I had a hunch that the period of life that I'm in right now was a little tough. It's a little rough. It's not going the best it could be. But that's okay. I'm 28 years old. I'll make it. 3 is crazy. It's crazy. I don't fully understand. I know that. So I think part of the idea is like, if you do the pujas and if you do other stuff and you can change your karma, and if your karma changes enough, there can be another leaf that returns to this. Yeah, Saturn return, exactly. And so, and this is part of how they didn't explicitly say that the portion where they're talking about the periods and chunks and like your life and timing, they didn't explicitly say that that's your astrology. They did say they would look at your astrology. They told me some stuff about my astrology from their tradition, from that tradition, which was awesome and really encouraging stuff to hear. But like, but yeah, it's. I noticed. I was like, this period you're in, Saturn return corresponds to Saturn return, is rough. The next period will be better, and then and then at the period that they're like roughly like 58 to 64 is gonna be a rough period, or like 62 or whatever. There's gonna be a rough period. I'm like, that's the second Saturn return, baby. Like, yeah, I know. Like not to like, yeah, I know, but like, yeah, I know it's gonna be rough. But so yeah, and it's just like, so they're using the astrology, but they're also referencing the actual prophecy on the leaf, and it's such a cool experience. It feels so integrated. It feels like one big cool experience in a way that was so fun and good. I loved it. I had a great time. Yeah, it is so. I will tell you, Lid, where you can get it done. I will also tell you that I had a discount and it still cost $400. I've been planning for this for years. I first heard about it 2 to 3 years ago, and I put the deposit down. I first heard about it about 3 years ago. I put the deposit down 2 years ago, and I got a $100 discount. And so I paid $400. Without a discount, it's $500. So if you want to do it, you can just Google Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. That's the place I got it done. They handle the translation, they handle the searching and the moderation, and they do all the stuff. But it takes time. It took them about 6 or 7 months to find the books that my leaf was in. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Why does Saturn gotta be like that? That's so real. So, lovely experience. It is costly. It truly felt like a privilege to have it done. Like I said, I've been planning for it for years. I've had the money set aside to do it. So it's not a whim thing. It's not a spur of the moment kind of a deal. But it was really great. worth it for me as someone who's been looking forward to it for 3 years. So, anyway, I saw the ofrenda question. I will come back to that here now. Is that all for offerings? I do ofrendas for the dead. Never know what to do with the offerings. So it's good to hear. Yeah, so that is interesting. But this is the thing, right? Exactly the question that you're asking about that, or like asking whatever, is the question with offerings. Like, it's always a little weird. Some traditions say that you, yeah, exactly. Some traditions will say that you can eat the food. So within this tradition, it's normal to eat the food and drink the drinks and whatever, and that's part of it, and it's cool. With the like the ancient Greek thing, it was you throw the food in the fire, or like that was one of the ways to do it. So like the food gets burnt up, so obviously you don't eat that. It's it all depends. I don't know. Whenever I do ancestor offerings, I don't eat the ancestor offerings. But that's also because I do tend to leave ancestor offerings out a little bit longer. So I just wouldn't want to eat them. I have eaten an offering that I gave to Aphrodite that she told me to eat. I don't normally eat the offerings that I give to Aphrodite, but this one she specifically told me to, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And she was like, "Yes, do it." So it always it depends. I think offerings to gods are a little bit different than offerings to ancestors, so it's all, I don't know. Do whatever you're gonna do. But that's kind of why I was like, it's nice to be told specifically that I can eat or drink the offerings when I do it this way within this tradition, or this style. Because I'm still not really in the tradition. I'm just doing the things I was told to do. I can't be culturally appropriating because I was specifically told to do exactly this. They're like, hey, you white boy, do this prayer and do it that way. There you go. Good job. Have fun. So it's I know I'm not doing anything too terribly wrong. It's yeah, it was a lovely experience. I will probably talk about it again at some point. Like I said, I'm still going through my whole thing. I love this as a spiritual tool and as a way to count the prayers, because I have to do 108. I love being able to do this and count that way. Whenever I wear it, I do feel like a douchebag from Long Beach. Because I'm a white boy. But that's fine. It is a spiritual tool. It is camphor wood. It is my favorite tree. It makes me happy. The whole experience made me happy. Yeah. Yes. It is me, the white boy. How do you do? Yeah. So, boy. Gender. Whatever. Anyway. It is me, the white. Makes it sound so much worse. So much worse. Anyway, my God, it's hot in here. I need to go change the thermostat. I do have book for book time. Super normal to eat food or drink from a friend? Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, because I've also shared food with other entities that weren't ancestors and weren't deities, and I definitely noticed the loss of flavor and all of that stuff. So that's cool. Yeah. I like it. I do, not gonna lie, guys, I would love to have whole hog, Dia de los Muertos, do it the right way. I would love to do that one day. That's probably not gonna be this year. I don't think I'm gonna have an ofrenda. I don't think I count. Yeah. Oh, I call myself a white boy all the time. I was talking about at the beginning of the live about my friend in Austin, Texas, who I went to go see, and she has a new boyfriend, and he's awesome and I love him, but he just introduces himself to everybody as hello, I am insert name here. I am a large Mexican man. Just like, so at the first time that he said that to me, I was like, hello, I'm Matt. I'm a small white boy. Like, it's just, this is just what I do. Yay. Yay. Yeah, I identify as a white boy. What can I do? My gender, non-binary / gender fluid. My pronouns, they, what / them / he / whatever the fuck. The way I identify to the world, hello, I'm a white boy. Anyway, that's enough of that. Yay. I love this, guys. This is fun. Okay. Yeah. Matt the White. Oh, that sounds bad to be the thing that reminded me. I just loved this. This just made me very happy. On that same trip with that same friend, we were doing the sort of like type your friend group, like insert your friend group into the magical world. And so we were doing Lord of the Rings, and I got Gandalf, and I was so happy. So I was like, I'll be Gandalf the White. Yeah. This is true. You are correct. There are white Mexicans and Hispanics. You're right. I am not one. Maybe in my soul. I think I've had. I don't know if I've had this conversation with all of you guys, but I'm just like, I know that I've got past lives in various like Central and South American countries, and I've got relationships to deal, and I've got other stuff like, I don't know. I know I'm involved. I'm in the sauce somewhere. I'm just not. I'm just a European descendant in this life. I ain't claiming nothing fancy. I'm just a white boy. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I was going to say one more thing about this, but now I'm forgetting, so that's probably my cue to call it. This has been a really fun live, but it's been a really long live. We are an hour and 20 minutes into the live actually starting, and before that we had like a 15-minute live where it was just me sitting here with my cats. Yeah, I am mostly English and Irish and German, and like within the German, I'm like technically I'm actually like Austrian on that, but then the Austrian part that became Germany, I guess. And I was just like I am just deeply, deeply white. But it's fine. I love having you guys here, so thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. Appreciate it. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna do book time. Y'all know how. Oh my god! I almost dropped the book on the cat. It's fine. Everything's fine. Y'all know how book time works. So we're just gonna do this. I'm not gonna lie. It feels really weird to be reading from a Taoist book after talking about Hinduism stuff the entire live. But I don't have any Hindu books. Do I? Do I have a Bhagavad Gita? I don't think I have a Bhagavad Gita. I think I almost picked it up. I don't think I bought it. So I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any Vedas or Gitas or anything Hindu to read. So we're sticking with Old Faithful, and we're going full tone shift into Taoism. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let me ground myself after being all goofy and silly for a bit. Okay, that was pretty normally I have to futz around with it for a little bit, but that was just like, nope, this is the one. Okay. Damn. Okay. Strong start. Vesta, I'm imported. I'm dying. That's so funny. Okay, book time. I love it. Okay. This is passage 76. Humans are born soft and weak. They die stiff and strong. The 10,000 plants and trees are born soft and tender. They die withered and sere. The stiff and strong are death's companions. The soft and weak are life's companions. Therefore, the strongest armies do not conquer. The greatest trees are cut down. The strong and great sink down. The soft and weak rise up. Ooh, I love this friggin' book. Oh my gosh, I love this book. Okay. Humans are born soft and weak. They die stiff and strong. Being old and stiff, but also rigor mortis, but also just growing as you grow. The 10,000 plants and trees are born soft and tender. They die withered and sere. The stiff and strong are death's companions, as we all join death when we are stiff and strong. The soft and weak are life's companions. So good, so good. Therefore, the strongest armies do not conquer. The greatest trees are cut down. The strong and great sink down, the soft and weak rise up. Oof, I love having a soft heart and like being all that. I'm just like, it's so good. And also like look at the thing. Just yes, good. That was a good one. That was a really good passage. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Y'all are still making me laugh in the chat. I know. Vesta just being Vesta comparing herself to an avocado. I understand. I get it. I am dead. It's so funny. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna chill out. I'm tired now. I'm gonna finish my last little sip of my very, very, very lightly caffeinated tea. And I'm gonna vibe. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. This has been really fun. And I hope you all have a lovely night and the rest of your week goes well. Thanks, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. I don't know if anybody's still here. I was trying to do something, and then the thing I was trying to do made the camera switch, and now I'm here. I'm going away again now.